Mariners about to start game 2 of this 4-game series. Fans here hoping that Jose Altuve can continue the magic that's been coming off of his bat recently, and they're hoping that Doug Fister can give them an outing that's similar to his last start against Oakland, which was his best one of the year. Now, we'll have Friday night fireworks here with the roof open after tonight's game, but both managers are hoping that their pitcher can keep the fireworks off the opposing bats to a minimum. And if this rematch of their last outing against each other on April 25th is any indication, that should be the case. Look at the numbers. Taijuan Walker, the young right-hander for the Mariners, was terrific. Just 1 earned run allowed in 7 innings pitched, struck out a career-high 11. Doug Fister, just 3 earned runs in 6 innings. And Fister in this game allowed just 4 hits, but his real problem was control. He had a career-high 7 walks in this game, and when he was forced to come into the strike zone, he allowed solo home runs to Leonys Martin and Kyle Seager. But talking to A.J. Hinch just a few moments ago about tonight's game, he said Fister needs to be in the strike zone, but low in the strike zone, and that's his plan going into this one tonight. We'll see if he can get that done. We'll have starting lineups and first pitch for you from Minute Maid when Astros baseball continues on Root Sports in just a moment.
Root Sports is presented by Lexus, the new 2016 Lexus ES and ES Hybrid. It's next level luxury. By Jack in the Box. Taste the Jumbo-licious Jumbo Meal before it's gone. Only at Jack in the Box. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The run of tremendous weather continues here at Minute Maid Park. Once again, the roof is open. It was in the mid-80s a while ago, maybe an hour or so ago, but the humidity's low in the 30s. As Doug Fister gets set to face his former club, the Seattle Mariners, and as Bart told us, it was a well-pitched game when he went against Taijuan Walker in Seattle, April 25th. Here's the lineup for the Mariners tonight. Norichika Aoki is the leadoff man in left field. It's Seth Smith in right field. Robinson Cano at second base. Nelson Cruz the DH. Kyle Seager at third base. Adam Lind at first. Chris Iannetta the catcher. Ketel Marte the shortstop. Leonys Martin the center fielder. And Taijuan Walker will be on the mound. We go now to Fister as he gets set to face Aoki. And Aoki, like Jose Altuve, was on base 4 times last night. It was not as spectacular, but he had 2 singles, 2 walks, and scored 2 runs. He led off the game last night with a single. Luis Valbuena's on the grass at third. And Doug Fister's pitch is high for ball 1. 82 degrees at game time. Slapped on the ground. Carlos Correa takes care of the first play in this one.
On the mound for the Astros, 32-year-old right-hander Doug Fister, now in his 8th season in the major leagues. This year, he's made 5 starts, 2 and 3, winning just one of his last 3, despite the fact that they were all quality starts. A little over the 4.5 mark, that ERA, and took a loss against the Seattle Mariners, despite pitching quite well. A career high, however, of 7 walks in that one.
Seth Smith is next. He had 2 hits and 2 runs batted in to go with a walk in last night's game. And there's ball 1 to Smith. Smith got the big hit as he came up in the 7th inning, a 2-run single to right field last night to give Seattle a 3-2 lead. Then the Astros later tied it in the 7th before winning it with 3 in the 9th, 6-3. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. Manny Gonzalez is calling the balls and strikes tonight. Fister is 2-1 in his career against Seattle with a 2.93 earned run average. He was drafted by Seattle in 06. Gets a swing and a foul tip there for a 1-2 count on Smith. Fister coming off that 2-1 win in Oakland on Sunday, in which he gave up 1 run in 6 2/3 innings. Walked 1 in that one in 6 2/3 after a 7-walk game in Seattle. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He has pitched once here at home and looking for his first win here as an Astro. He lost that game to Kansas City here 6-2 back on the 14th of April, giving up 6 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings. In the air, the center fielder Gomez drifts back. 2 down. Robinson Cano continues to wreak havoc on the Astros. He has 2 homers, 14 runs batted in 4 games against Houston pitching this season, while going 8 for 17. Currently on a 5-game hitting streak. He leads the league in runs batted in with 30. He has 9 homers and a 287 batting average for Cano, who last night drove in 4, going 3 for 5 in that game. In his career, he's gone 7 for 22 against Fister. And this one goes out to shallow center field. Gomez in, and that's a hit in front of him. A looping single for Cano and a 6-game hitting streak.
It just adds to a 356 mark lifetime against the Astros for Cano, along with 6 home runs. We've got our Mattress Firm Super Mo. Take a look at this swing of one of the game's really outstanding run producers. Very good left-hand hitting second baseman. And when you're hot, you just dunk them in front.
It's that kind of a run for Robbie Cano. His father pitched briefly for the Astros, Jose Cano. Nelson Cruz was 0 for 5 last night. That's in tight, ball 1 to a 279 hitter with 5 homers, 16 runs batted in. Good career numbers against Fister for Cruz. That's even at a 1-ball, 1-strike count now for Doug Fister.
Let's take a look at our MD Anderson strike zone. As you see that inside corner spotted very nicely. Just 86 miles an hour on that fastball.
It's been about his average velocity per fastball this year. Doug went to Fresno State, grew up in Merced, California. Last year pitched for Washington. High chop goes foul. Manny Act is the third base coach. Manny, a longtime minor league manager in the Astros system. Make sure a young fan gets that one. 1 and 2. He's in charge of the infielders as well with the Mariners. Seattle is 3-1 against Houston this season, and in first place. That's jammed, and Cruz fights it off. The Mariners have won 4 in a row and 15 of their last 20. And they have a 2.5-game lead on Texas. Scott Service's club with that 17-11 record, especially doing well on the road, where they're 12-4 in his first season as the Mariners skipper, and he played with the Astros 2 different times. A strikeout of Cruz ends the first for Fister. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. The Astros are up in a moment. Come up with this lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. A.J. Hinch will begin, of course, with the man who brings thunder in the first inning, Jose Altuve, leading it off at second base. It's George Springer in right field, Carlos Correa the shortstop. Colby Rasmus had some rest last night. He's back in the lineup in left field with Evan Gattis, the DH, Carlos Gomez in center field, Luis Valbuena at third base, Marwin Gonzalez at first base, Jason Castro is the catcher.
And on the mound for the Seattle Mariners, youngster, just 23 years of age, Taijuan Walker. He can flat bring it. He does it in easy fashion. 5 starts and a 2-1 record. Great ERA under the 2 mark. Whip right near just an even 1. And he was so strong in that last start against Houston.
Well, folks know that they should not be at the concession stands right now. Not when Altuve's batting in the first inning. He has a batting average of over 500 in the first inning this year, the best in the majors. Last night he had his 9th homer of the year in the first inning. He's driven in 19, and his batting average is up to 330 after 4 for 4 last night. Takes that pitch for strike 1.
What I want to know is what's the slugging percentage in the first inning.
Okay. Happy birthday to Jose. He's 26. Sam Decker, George Clooney, Tony Blair, Larry Anderson, Willie Mays. Backhanded Kyle Seager. This time Walker gets his way in the first. And the young man who met with Jose Altuve last night, requested a home run and got it, is back for another visit today and getting more signed memorabilia. That is the home run ball he hit up on the railroad tracks last night.
Wow.
Carlos Correa contributing some gloves to the cause. Great story. George Springer gets underneath that one, fouling it back. There's strike 1 to George. At 265, he has 6 homers, 16 runs batted in. George was 0 for 3 with a walk last night, and has a much higher batting average at home, 333 in this park. Walker was really something in that game in Seattle. He struck out the last 6 men he faced, and a total of 11 punch outs in 7 innings with only 1 walk for Taijuan, who was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. Went to high school in Yucaipa, California, and he was a supplemental pick in 2010 after the first round. 43rd player drafted that year. Made his major league debut right here. He gets a swing there and is out in front. 1-2.
Young man has a really good changeup. Drops it down to 86 right there.
Chris Iannetta puts the fingers down, and it's ball 2. When Walker made his major league debut here, he faced Brad Peacock. That was August 30th, 2013. Gave up no earned runs in 5 innings, 1 unearned run, and he won that debut 7-1. Springer fouls it back. He is 5-1 lifetime against Houston. This is his 10th career start already against the Astros out of his 43rd major league starts. High bouncer foul for Seager. That one hit the plate, and Springer will come back. So any number of times Taijuan Walker has really seemed to have the Astros number. One time here in Houston they put some knots on him, 7 earned runs in 3 innings. But other than that, he has been really remarkable. In fact, his first 3 major league wins all came at Minute Maid Park. One of those in 2013 and 2 more in 2014.
Yeah, you're kind of describing what happens when you play in division with another club. You face them 19 times on a season.
Out to center field. Leonis Martin still going and on the track. A long out, number 2.
It's a frustrating center field if you're a guy that drives the baseball here, and you probably want to pull or do some of that Altuve work going the other way. And George got a good piece of this, but not all of it. Martin can go get it in center field.
He's a part of a better defensive club than the Mariners had last year. It's put together by general manager Jerry DiPoto. Carlos Correa is next. Correa looks at strike 1. 267 for Carlos. 4 homers, 13 runs batted in.
Is he getting corners early on? Boy, that's not even close, and it's called a strike.
It's a big corner.
It is.
No balls, 2 strikes. If he's going to get that pitch, he could do what he did last time out against the Astros.
Well, you can just dominate clubs. If you can get that as your first strike and set guys in a hole right away, it really makes a huge difference.
Correa, as you saw on that graphic, better against right-handed pitching. And in fact, that's the matchup too against Taijuan Walker. Right-handed hitters are hitting a lot better against him. 339. Left-handed hitters 150. Out to right field. This is driven. Smith is back. Smith still going. That's an opposite field homer for Correa. Number 5. Only the second long ball surrendered in 31 innings by Taijuan Walker.
Carlos Correa is starting to swing that bat with authority once again. Started the season just killing it in New York and picking it up again. Tools on this young man, very rare.
Correa hit a homer in the Minnesota series, and now he goes deep again after an 0 for 3 night last night. Colby Rasmus looks at ball 1. The Astros now have 39 home runs. They take over the American League lead from the Mariners. They were tied. Correa with 5 of those. He's driven in 14. 1-1 to Rasmus. Correa has been something with those opposite field home run swings. 1-2. Both these clubs have scored a pretty high percentage of runs on homers. Rasmus 5 for 13 with a homer off Walker. And the shift is on as usual for Colby. Fly ball goes toward the left field line, and Aoki comes over for it. So it was 2 outs. It was a 1-2 count, and Correa strikes for the Astros. 1-0 Houston.
made. Astros on top 1-0. And it's time for our Chevy Stroh poll. And our question tonight is, how many home runs will Jose Altuve finish with this season? A, 15-19, B, 20-25, C, 26-30, or D, 31 or more. You can go to @RootSportsSW to vote in our Stroh poll right now. Guys, back up to you.
Thank you, Bart. There's ball one to Kyle Seager, a .202 hitter with 6 homers, 18 runs batted in. Seager 8 for 20 his last 5 games. He had a couple of hits last night, a triple and a single. The count's even at 1-1 for Doug Fister, shooting for his 3rd win as an Astro. Chris Davinsky pitched very well last night, 6 innings, 1 run allowed. In the air, and let's see, the left fielder Colby Rasmus moves in for it. One down. Bueno went back. Very clear sky above Minute Maid Park again tonight. That's been the pattern all week long as the roof has been open, and we have not seen clouds.
Doug Fister is finding a way here on this beautiful evening to work that fastball without a whole lot of velocity successfully up in the zone.
Yes, he has been, and got that pop up there. So that'll be a trend to watch for. Normally he's a ground ball pitcher. Adam Lind with a .218 average has 1 homer, 5 runs batted in. Lind 0 for 4 last night. That's strike 1 to him. The Mariners are 2nd in runs scored in the American League with 128. And just missing the corner takes the count to 1-1. They have been quite a road team with that 12-4 record. They won every road series. Out toward right center field, Springer. And he bent down a little bit. That ball might have been up in that bank of lights, but successfully makes out number 2.
Looks like George is finding a way to handle the lighting and just dips those eyes a little bit, finds the baseball in another little zone above the lights possibly.
Now we've been told this bank of lights that he is looking toward for that particular catch is lower in this stadium than it is in many of the stadiums around the majors. Chris Iannetta looks at ball 1. Iannetta at .239 with 2 homers has 7 runs batted in. What a gorgeous view.
Always looks even nicer with a lead, doesn't it?
True. Gomez in center field makes it a 3 fly ball out inning for Fister. 1-0 Houston after only 8 pitches.
Barbershop, I mean Minute Maid Park. Astros on top of the Mariners 1-0. Join us here at Minute Maid Park tomorrow as the Astros take on the Mariners in Game 3 of this series. And the first 10,000 fans will receive a Dallas Keuchel Cy Young Gold Glove bobblehead presented by Houston Methodist. For more information, go to Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. That'll be a good matchup tomorrow, guys. Keuchel taking on right-hander Nathan Carnes for the Mariners.
That's the same matchup that they encountered in Seattle, and Carnes got the better of Keuchel. And yeah, that giveaway is going to be big tomorrow night, so we urge everybody to get here early for the 6:10 start. Evan Gattis with the Astros up 1-0 is the batter. Chopped by the pitcher. Marte unloads but throws it away. He had a problem getting a grip on that baseball. And they tag Gattis, thinking that he might have turned toward second, but he did not. So Evan reaches here to lead off the home second.
Did you watch this ground ball go back up the middle? It did appear to take an unusual final hop there, possibly to the right, but I'm not sure that was really the issue. Just that inability to make the transfer from glove to right hand. And of course, the speed of Evan Gattis.
The official scorer agrees with you. Error.
Now, when you watch all of that, Gattis might have beat the play, but it was because of that bobble that enabled Gattis that opportunity.
Fifth error for Ketel Marte, bringing up Carlos Gomez. Bunting, he pushes one up the first base line, and Lynn with a flip out on the coverage by Cano. On a very close play, head first dive by Gogo. It goes as a sacrifice with Gattis moving into second.
That's a heck of a play by Robinson Cano. Hustling on the play, and hitting is really the strength of Robinson Cano. Defensively, a very good player. Did they get him there? That hand still appears to be airborne as the ball goes into the glove. Yeah, they get him. That's a really nice hustle play by Cano.
Sacrifice from 3 to 4. Runner at second for Luis Valbuena. With Gattis there, Valbuena tries to cash in on this opportunity. He has 4 runs batted in with a 182 average. Has not gone deep this season. Valbuena takes strike 1. Valbuena is hitless in his career, 0 for 8 against Walker. Last night, Marwin Gonzalez played third base. Valbuena 1 for 6 in the Minnesota series. Chops one foul. Not by much, though. 0-2. Marwin Gonzalez on deck now. The Cubs won again today. They are 22-6. They beat Washington 8-6. John Lackey going to 4-1, beating Max Scherzer, who's 3-2. Hector Rondon got his 5th save. Lackey struck out 11 in 7 innings.
4 long balls for the Cubbies. They are not so cuddly anymore.
Out to center field. Martin with his back to the infield, turning with the catch on the warning track. Gattis was halfway to third base, and he'll come back. 2 outs. Deep drive by Valbuena, so about 400 feet away. He is robbed.
You know, the hitters may not love center field here a whole lot, but I bet there are some center fielders who just love the opportunity to roam. And this is some serious roaming going on. Evan Gattis does the wise thing. With 1 out, you go halfway, make sure you score if the ball does drop.
Go back to second and 2 outs for Marwin Gonzalez. 190 for Margot, 1 homer, 3 runs batted in. He was 1 for 4 last night after going over 7 in the Twins series. And it's ball 1. The Astros are hitting .232 as a team. And they have some low batting averages right now. Several players would love to put on a burst and get above that 200 batting average, get off the interstate. Jason Castro has just done that recently, and he is on deck right now. 2 balls, no strikes. But with it all, the Astros are 6th in runs scored. They're 2nd in total bases. Infield shifting around as normal for Marwin. And time is called. Taijuan Walker in his last start against Kansas City lost it 4-1, giving up 3 runs, 2 of them earned in 5 innings, throwing 96 pitches. Some of the hits not particularly hard hit off him, we understand. Now it's 3-0. So those were the numbers in that loss. And he often gets phone calls after games from his mother, Nellie Garcia. She's quite a fan. Ripped on a line, deep right field. That is going to be a 2-run shot. First career homer with a man on base for Marwin Gonzalez. He punished that one. 3-0 Astros.
Well, that offensive side of the game from Marwin has not gotten off to a good start on the season. But this swing goes a long way in helping those numbers and in helping the impression as to what he brings to a game when he does get a start.
His first 25 homers had been solo, and now he gets a silent treatment.
Yeah, that kind of tells you the story right there. Yeah, it hasn't been a great start, but teammates are very appreciative of that kind of swing.
Number 2 of the season. That gives him 5 runs batted in. 3-0 Houston, and now it's Jason Castro. Ball 1 to Castro. A recent surge has put him at 206 with 2 homers, 7 runs batted in for Jason. And he's been drawing a lot of walks recently. Now Seager comes over to talk to Walker. Castro has attempted some bunts this season.
And that may account for the third baseman Seager drawn into the grass. If that's the way you take the bunt away.
1-1. Castro was 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter, and also drew a walk as he stayed in the game last night. That snapped his season-long 6-game hitting streak. 1-2.
Watch the quick left-handed stroke of Marwin Gonzalez, and he'll surprise you with that pop every now and then.
Castro had gone 8 for 20 before last night's 0 for 1. Just feeling a whole lot better at the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's hit a couple of opposite field home runs this homestand to the Landry's Crawford boxes. Jason has 2 homers, 2 doubles, and 2 triples this season. Now 3-2. Wade Miley gave the Mariners a good start last night. 6 innings, 2 runs. Their rotation has the second lowest ERA in the American League, 3.37. Left fielder watches it sail out of play.
Catcher's firm Supermo with that swing. Well, that's nice and quick and short to the baseball. And really, that's what Marwin does from the left side. More of a classic power stroke from the right.
Castro fouls it off the screen. Well, the Astros now with 40 long balls, and this is their 30th game. It's a nice pace. Chop foul first base side past Rich Dower. The 2 runs in the inning are unearned because of the error allowing Gaddis to reach. Happy little fella.
He's already seen 2 Astros home runs.
Castro line drive. Whoa! It's knocked up in the air, and Marte recovers and gets him. That's quite a play from 6-3. 2 homers in the game, and this one a 2-run shot for Margot. 3-0 Houston.
go to the third inning. Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Houston Astros are hitting home runs for Houston. Look at what the Astros have done through the years. Guys with those leadoff home runs. Craig Biggio easily leads 53 of them, and a long chase for Jose Altuve, who now has 10. Terry Poole's in front of Altuve with 13. Another guy who did it so well in that leadoff spot. How about Joe Morgan? You know, there are guys that have had great success in the first inning. Jose Altuve has a chance to pass some pretty impressive numbers.
I bet he does. Going out to his position now as the Astros lead at 3-0, and Ketel Marte is the leadoff man in the third inning. The 22-year-old shortstop, who's a switch hitter, begins the night at 287. He has 4 runs batted in. And Doug Fister gets in front of him with strike 1. Marte was 1 for 4 last night. He got an infield hit and scored a run. Fister has a very quick pace to his work. 1 ball, 1 strike. Doug had quite a year in 2014 with Washington, going 16-6 with a 2.41 ERA. Last year he was dealing with some injuries and limited to just 15 starts and 10 relief appearances. His ERA was 4.19 with 5 wins and 7 losses. Flick foul for his career. He's 65-66. Leonis Martin is on deck. Marte is from the Dominican Republic. Made his big league debut last year. Put in about a half season with the M's. 2-2. Fister is listed at 6'8". Took Marte a few years to work his way to the big leagues. He signed as a free agent in 2010. Curveball, and it's foul. As far as the batting average against the various offerings of Fister, his cut fastball has been the most effective, with a batting average of 100 against that pitch. Slapped on the ground. Here's Correa charging. Good transfer and safe. Marwin looked over immediately toward the Astros bench. As of now, it's an infield hit, unless it's challenged.
From here, I would say it will hold up. But what a play by Carlos Correa, who's starting to make this play now. We've seen a couple like this in recent games, and I feel like his defensive game is coming along, as is the offensive game. Very nicely done. Marte can get it down the line.
It is a single for Marte. There's bullpen action right now. Close, but it appeared that Marte did beat the arrival of that throw in the mitt of Marwin Gonzalez. Michael Guaipe is warming up for the Mariners here in the top of the third inning. Marte is 2 for 3 in steals.
You know what, I'll say this. Taijuan Walker has not had the velocity tonight that we saw him in well, earlier starts, not just the one this year.
Okay.
So I don't know if that indicates that something could be amiss for the big righty.
Maybe so. 5 homers with a .213 batting average for Martin, who last night had a couple of hits, stole 2 bases. He plays a good center field, as we've seen again tonight. 2-0. Martin scored 2 runs out of the 9 spot last night. Pretty effective number 9 hitter. It's nice to have a number 9 hitter who can do some running. 2 balls and 1 strike to the former Texas Ranger, Leonis Martin from Cuba. Rangers signed him as a free agent in 2011. He was traded to Seattle last fall after hitting just .219 for Texas last year. And certainly he had much better years than that with the Rangers, and hoping for a resurgence here with their division rival, the Mariners. These two teams had some angry words for each other after a hit batter earlier this season. Not these two, but the Rangers and the Mariners. Gomez is stationed in left center. It's 2-2 for Pfister. Dallas Keuchel will take the mound tomorrow night against Nate Carnes. That's a 6:10 start. We're on the air with a pregame show at 5:30. Sunday a 12:30 pregame show for Colin McHugh and Hisashi Iwakuma. Now a full count, and we'll see if Marte might be on his way from first base. Pfister's not a big strikeout pitcher, and the Mariners, they want to get that runner moving. They do not, and it's in the air. Altuve looking out to Springer, and now here comes George, and Altuve pursues it and makes the catch. George may not have seen that ball very well. He was coming in a little bit slower than it appeared Altuve thought he might be, and so Altuve stayed with it and made the play.
I don't think Altuve's ever seen a pop fly that he's not anxious to go get, but even a little surprised look on the face of Altuve. Still that tough time of the evening.
Yeah.
I think Altuve anticipated that eventually he'd be called off that one.
George may have been looking right into the sun, which is over behind the stadium. We can't tell the exact positioning of it, but if west is still west, then we know where it is.
I think that's likely to be the case.
Okay. Aoki's the batter. It's got to be out there somewhere in that direction. Strike one to Aoki.
Take a look again at our replay, and so Doug Pfister gets a call.
No balls, 2 strikes as he pounds that one in. Four-game series here between these two. And then the Astros will turn their attention to a brand new opponent Monday night. And a good one, the Cleveland Indians. Foul ball. A lot of teams are hanging close to 500 in the standings right now, including Cleveland. Cleveland's 1 game over coming into play today, 13-12. Detroit's 14-13. Kansas City 14-13. Toronto 15-15. Tampa Bay 12-14. And then these clubs in the West, Texas 1 game over, 15-14. The Angels are 2 under. The A's are 3 under. Struck him out looking. Number 2.
High strike again, and we've already talked about it. That one up out of the strike zone. So Aoki, who tends to go up there and watch a lot of pitches anyway, watched a couple out of the strike zone called strikes.
He looked crushed at that call by Manny Gonzalez. Very surprised. Seth Smith is the batter. He hit a fly ball to center earlier. Well, they're up on the roof deck of Union Station looking right down into Minute Maid Park. That beautiful view. That's fouled. Marlins slipped on that one. Strike 1 to Smith. And what a perfect night for fireworks after the game, Ash.
Ideal. Yeah, but I know you and I want to see the fireworks during the game. It's already started in that direction.
Yeah, it's been a pretty loud start for the Astros bats with a couple of long balls. The theme tonight for the fireworks is Ladies' Night. 0-2.
And the feeling's right.
Yeah, and only fitting on Mother's Day weekend. Hey, got a question for you.
Bring it.
Looking at one of the old-fashioned printed calendars today.
You're talking about those kind that used to be on paper?
Right, that used to be on paper, but you can still find a few around. It says Sunday, Mother's Day, and it says Tuesday the 10th, Mother's Day. What's that all about?
Mother's Day goes on all year long. Imagine if you look at the fine print, you'll find it 365 times this year.
So, okay. All right, that answers that.
Is it a bad sign when you're trying to reply on a tweet and you get timed out before you can get to the end time and time again?
Yeah, that means you shouldn't be on Twitter. Check swing call as Diaz calls it Seattle's way, and it's 2-2 to Smith.
I'm glad you're confirming what I already know. Again, Pfister living up in the strike zone throughout the evening.
It's a little bit of a different approach for him, right?
Yeah. I mean, you talked about it, a guy that's grown accustomed to getting ground balls through his career, but right now without increased velocity, coming up in the zone, whether intentionally or not, and having success.
The reason I think it works is that especially a 6'8" pitcher,
maybe
with that downward plane, that can fall right into the bat path, especially if a lot of left-handed hitters who have that beautiful uppercut swing, right?
Of course, when you're that tall and you leave it up, you lose a little bit of that angle.
True. Runner going, and it's a ball, and the throw is getting away. And it's 3-2 now. A stolen base for Marte. And that is his third.
Take another look at this one. Good throw by Jason Castro. Didn't come up with that as quickly as he might have liked, but they might have gotten the call right there had Correa hung on.
Sure might have.
Ball hit him right on the thumb of the glove.
Yeah.
That was really a perfect strike at the bag.
Well thrown by Castro. He's thrown out 2 of 13 this season. Full count now with Cano on deck and 2 outs. First official Mother's Day was May 10th, 1908. Out of the shift, here's Correa rushing to his right. And an accurate throw. Beautiful play by Correa. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. 3-0 Houston.
Top of the Mariners 3-0 as we move to the bottom of the third. Mariners have a new pitcher on the mound. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. But first, we have a very special guest in the ballpark tonight, Robert Wuhl. Those of you who know him from his HBO series Arliss, many of you remember him, as I do, from your all-time favorite baseball movie, Bull Durham. Thanks for being with us. Great to have you in town.
Oh, great to be had.
You're a U of H grad, so this is old stomping grounds for you.
Yeah. I'm here to give an award to the Alumni Association. I used to sell beer in the Astrodome when I was going to college. I was here back in the days with, I want to date myself, with Cesar Cedeno and Doug Rader and Bob Watson and Larry Durker and your dad was around then, I think.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
That's back when they had the foamer. Remember they'd hit the home run with the orange light on?
Let me tell you something. I was selling beer then, and it cost me a lot of money. The good news was the Astros couldn't hit home runs. So then they dropped it down to a double, and then they made it a loud foul. It cost me a lot of money back in those days.
Well, I know every time you go to a ballpark, you get asked about Bull Durham, because it's everybody's favorite baseball movie. And Kevin Costner was in the ballpark last year, and he was talking about how much fun that movie was to make, because the movie version of the team sort of developed that same camaraderie and chemistry.
Yeah, that happens when you're doing a film like that. And remember, the guys could play for the most part. Yeah. In fact, you know what most people don't realize is the shortstop on the team in that movie was Danny Gans, who later went on to become the king of Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, absolutely.
Yeah, because he actually was a shortstop in the San Diego organization. He was a second baseman when Ozzie Smith was a shortstop.
Wow.
So Danny could really play.
Yeah, he could. That was a lot of fun. Talk a little bit about, you know, coming back to Houston. I know you seeing the ballpark here, the new ballpark, and what you think about it since you know so much about the Dome.
Well, yeah, the ballpark's nice. It's got more signage than I remember here last time I was here. But no, it's a good ballpark. You know, I always root for the Astros. You know, this was I spent 7 years of my life here.
Yeah.
So I want to see them do well. They got terrific young talent. They strike out too much. But I always root for the Astros. I always have. It's part of me. And I'm just glad I love coming to Houston. I'm here to give an award to a dear friend of mine, Barbara Parrott McGinnity, who unfortunately passed away right after she got named the recipient of the award. So I'm here to celebrate her tomorrow night. A great lady, and was one of my dearest friends ever. In fact, this is the first night in all my years in Houston that she's never been here.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a tough one for me, but it's a good time, and I have good friends here. And, but you know, here's a tip for the audience out there. I just saw a really good movie that you want to see.
Okay.
It's called Being Charlie. It's Rob Reiner's new film. I don't know if it's opened up here yet, but go see it. Terrific film.
And you're not in it?
No.
Maybe it's a plug.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that shameless a plug.
Well, you got anything else in the works right now? Any more baseball or sports movies? I know Arliss was a lot of fun for you, I know.
Arliss was great. Look, Rocket Clemens and I are very good friends.
Okay.
So, in fact, Roger hooked me up tonight here. So, Roger and I have always done a lot of stuff. I'm working with Broadway musicals now. I'm actually developing, I've been developing a musical called Hotel California, and I was developing with Glenn Fry. And so, it's been a tough year.
Well, we certainly appreciate you spending a few minutes with us, and I want you to enjoy the rest of the game, so I'm going to let you go. But, Brownie, as I toss it back up to you, I'm going to stay down here next to Robert, and if the mics pick up a little no batter, that's me doing a little. As a broadcaster, I'm allowed to do chatter, right?
That's good.
And that's chatter.
That's chatter. Hum baby, no batter. Here,
Hum baby, there we go. We're gonna.
I got you. Take a little go.
We're gonna be doing some of that down here, Brownie. Back up to you.
Chat it up. Thank you. Ground out by Altuve to shortstop on a 3-2, and now George Springer's the batter with the new pitcher in Michael Guaipe, and Taiwan Walker leaving after 2 innings, giving up 2 hits, 3 runs, 1 of them earned, walking nobody, no strikeouts. And we have not yet received a report on why Taiwan Walker left this game, but you had noted earlier that he had not the same velocity, and we see the numbers on Guaipe now.
By the way, apparently it's not as popular, or it's more popular these days to be Charlie than to be John Malkovich. So that's what I got out of the interview. Thanks, Bart, for that.
Right. Yeah, being John Malkovich. 1 ball, 2 strikes. As George Springer works to Guaipe. Guaipe is 25 years old. He's from Venezuela. Pitched in one of the games against the Astros in Seattle, April 27th, giving up 1 earned run in 2/3 of an inning. He gets a strikeout for out number 2. The Seattle bullpen has been dynamic this year.
Off speed and diving under the zone. And George obviously way out in front.
Carlos Correa let the ball travel deep on a 1-2 pitch and rammed it into the right field seats for his 5th home run of the season. So he's heating it up now after going 88 at bats between home runs. Correa connected in the 4th inning Wednesday night against the Twins on an 0-2 pitch. And he hit that one to right field. There's what the bullpen has done for Scott Service.
Yeah, that bullpen can mean a lot of difference. You talk about how good it was for the Astros last year, and it was. And we've seen a bright bullpen here in recent times. Last night had its scuffles.
Now Correa has a 3-0 pitch coming. Guaipe worked a shutout inning 3 days ago at Oakland. He started the year at AAA Tacoma and was recalled April 25th when Joaquin Benoit was placed on the disabled list. Correa works a walk. 4 straight. First walk of the game for Seattle pitching, and Colby Rasmus follows. Rasmus hit a fly ball to left field.
And by the way, these are the types of walks for me that I think Carlos Correa and others get when they start driving the baseball, where pitchers are just simply unwilling to throw them strikes.
Right. Rasmus hit a fly ball to left. Now with Gaddis on deck, the infield shifts around. Marte coming over to the first base side of second. Colby grounds one. Bobby Cano with the force play at second on Correa. From 4-6. No runs, no hits, and a man left. It's 3-0 Houston. Three 0 lead for the Astros. It's Pino in the park night tonight. A little wine tasting there.
Thanks, guys.
That we saw the commercial for last night with Jake Marisnick. That was hilarious.
And they played it at the start of batting practice when the guys came out on the field today, and the guys all hollered, "Play it again!" And so right away there was an encore. Yeah, Jake is a very popular guy right now.
Robbie Cano hits one, and there's a play by Marwin Gonzalez. Flipping to Fister, 1 pitch, 1 out. As he left his feet, he stayed right with that baseball. 1 down.
Yeah, we've seen Tyler White play pretty well down at first base. Marwin is a gifted infielder, and you're glad to see him anywhere unless he's trying to catch a quick flip from his pitcher. Apparently the sign was missed by Marwin here.
Yeah, that was too quick. All too quick. Nelson Cruz struck out earlier. We're getting some notes on Twitter about this May 10th Mother's Day. Even though this Sunday's Mother's Day, the calendars say May 10th is Mother's Day. We're being told that May 10th is Mother's Day in Mexico. So maybe that was it. It's 0-2. But there's also that that was the original Mother's Day in 1908 on May 10th. Anyway, treat mom well this weekend, no matter whether it's Sunday or Tuesday or
look,
whenever.
I've already made my point. Do it all year round, and your life will be much better for it.
So the guys will have the pink bats out. Fly ball out to right field. Springer with the catch. 2 down. And Kyle Seager will follow. We go to Bart Ennis.
Thanks, Bill. Hey, join us for Mother's Day here at Minute Maid Park. 10,000 fans in attendance will receive an Astros Cross body bag presented by Houston Methodist as the Astros take on the Mariners. For more information, go to astros.com or you can call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Back up to you guys.
Yeah, we'll all leave in body bags that day. We go to the 4th inning with 2 outs now, and Kyle Seager, he hit a fly ball to left in the 2nd.
Thought I just saw Sarah Palin in the crowd there.
Well, could be a lookalike. In for a strike. That curveball is about a 70-mile-per-hour pitch most of the time when Pfister throws it. That's the average speed on it. Breeze is blowing out to left field. A little bit more of a breeze than we've had the last few nights. Very comfortable in the ballpark. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Mariners have a winning record here at Minute Maid Park. They're 19-17. Stunning views of downtown tonight. 2 balls, 1 strike to Seager. We got the report on Taijuan Walker. He left with neck spasms. Out to right field. Springer checking the bullpen fence. He's on the track without number 3. A lot of fly ball outs for Pfister. He leads at 3-0.
Rocket Arms, brought to you by Quicken Loans. Let's look around Major League Baseball. A couple of guys with some nice records. 4-0 for David Price. Leads the American League with 49 strikeouts. Check out that ERA, by the way, 6.14. Clayton Kershaw leads the major leagues with strikeouts, 54 of them, while going just 3-1. But how about the ERA? He just does it year after year. 196 for Mr. Kershaw.
Strike to Evan Gattis. He reached on an error and came home on the 2-run homer by Marwin Gonzalez. Waipe in relief. Missing there. Goes to a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Has Clayton Kershaw approached what Sandy Koufax did in a brief number of years in his career?
The innings would be different. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Not sure how the innings would stack up for him because it would take more years for him to get that many innings. And the center fielder comes over, Martin, for the catch on Gattis. But he's been spectacular.
And because the innings are different, the strikeout numbers, the totals are different. And
right.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, and the other thing that's hard to really analyze is that ERAs are higher now than when Koufax pitched. So, you know, if you get a 1.7 ERA now it is so far below the league average that it looks more spectacular.
Which
right?
makes you look at Zach Greinke last year and the tremendous year he had.
It sure does. Carlos Gomez put down a sac bunt first time up. Strike one to him. Energetic Friday night here at the ballpark. Emily on Twitter wants us to wish her mom Dee an early Mother's Day.
Can't do that, can you?
Well, we just did. She's working as a nurse on Sunday, so thank you for your service in the hospital, and happy Mother's Day, Dee. Gogo takes a look at it. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Astros would really like to see him put on a surge. Line to first. Lind is there, 2 outs.
Got hit right at Adam Lind. When you're scuffling for hits, you want every one of these. This ball is not a rocket off the bat, maybe a little bit of a jam shot, but certainly an opportunity for a knock.
Lind was right there, and it's 2 outs with Valbuena batting next. Valbuena hit a fly ball to center field in the 2nd inning, and Martin tracked it down. That's strike 1. The Astros are 2-2 on this homestand, which is a 10-gamer. 1-1, and after this homestand, they head for Boston and Chicago. Boston came into today in first place by a half game in the AL East. Chicago had a 4-game lead over 3 clubs in the AL Central. So this first place team and then 2 more facing the Astros in this stretch of baseball here. 1-2 as you look at the background on Valbuena. Beginning with the Mariners. At age 16, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Big year for the Mariners. Not only the fact that they're playing well, but they have Ken Griffey Jr. headed for the Hall of Fame. Pulled foul.
Do you think it's a slap at the voters at all that Ken Griffey Jr. was not a unanimous selection?
I do. I think there's some first ballot bias that gets in the way of electing people who should be first ballot players. Just my opinion.
I don't see how anybody could look you in the eye and say, no, I don't think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
So then if you say, well, he's not a first ballot guy, but he's going in on the second ballot, what changed?
Yeah, that's right.
In tight, and it's 3-2.
Now that we've made him squirm, I'm going to vote for him.
Right. Yeah, we're going to make him grovel for another year. But we know he's getting in.
Yeah, I've never understood that, but it's the way it's always been.
Yeah, and there's never been a really solid explanation for why. Except that it's only for the best of the best, but isn't he the best of the best?
I don't think there's any question about it.
What a dynamic player. Valbuena works a 2-out walk.
The pitch was callable, and looked like Luis was having a little more fun flipping the bat away than maybe needed in taking this pitch. Close pitch, and could have been called.
Yeah, sure could have. Well, that'll get Marwin Gonzalez to the plate. He ripped a line drive 2-run homer on a 3-0 count in the 2nd inning. Boston and the Yankees are tied 2-2. They're in the top of the 4th at Yankee Stadium. Boston thrashed the Yankees at Fenway earlier. Yankees are in some trouble, Ash.
It's a bad start, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something that we expect to see addressed knowing that they're the Yankees. Their worst start since '91. They're 9-17. Cano for the flip to Lynn. Takes care of the final out. We move to the 5th inning, and the Astros lead it 3-0. Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, donating $100 for each Astros home run and $200 for each Correa home run to Houston Children's Charity. Well, money pouring in tonight. We have a Correa homer and another Astro homer by Marwin Gonzalez. A 2-run shot. That's made it 3-0 Astros. The youngsters are here on a Friday night. No school tomorrow. They can stay up late. They can watch fireworks. We go to the 5th inning. It's Adam Lind. He hit the fly ball to right in the 2nd. One of 7 fly ball outs for Doug Fister in this game. And that's ball 1 as he continues to work upstairs. Yeah, you were talking about that different plane from a big 6'8" right-hander that a pitch like that would bring. Only 3 ground outs. That's quite rare compared to the 7 fly ball outs for Doug. Not sure if this is by design, whether this is his game plan or not, Ash.
The thing about it is, if it's not by design and you have success, do you then say, well, let's go ahead and go with this program next time out? And it can be dangerous for a guy that's not overpowering. But it has appeared that Fister has had the hitters tied up with that high heat tonight.
Well, just looking back at the scorecard of his game in Seattle, he didn't get this many fly ball outs. Foul ball.
Can you call it high heat or is it high lukewarm?
Whatever it is, it's working, right?
It is working.
To keep this club at bay on 2 singles with no walks through 4 innings, that's admirable. The Mariners are 3rd in on-base average, 5th in slugging in the American League. Big curveball got him on strikes. Adam Lind is retired. That's the 3rd strikeout.
Turns to the curveball to get the strikeout. And very nicely done. Jason Castro continues to be quality on those pitches in the dirt.
Lind is out number 1. Now it's Chris Iannetta. He put the ball in the air to center field earlier. But Fister has been one of those extreme ground ball pitchers. Ball 1. One of the tallest pitchers in Astros history. J.R. Richard was also 6'8". Randy Johnson 6'10". 2-0. In that Boston-New York game, 2-2 in the 7th inning tonight. Michael Pineda checked out after 6 innings, giving up 2 runs. Rick Porcello still in for Boston. Gets a swing, and it's 2-1 on Iannetta.
That half a year for the Astros with Randy Johnson, about as exciting a period of baseball as I've seen.
Wasn't it though? It's just electric when he went down to warm up in the bullpen at the Astrodome before his start. 3-1. David Ortiz hit his 7th home run of the year for the Red Sox tonight at Yankee Stadium. He's going out in grand fashion so far. Strike, and Iannetta had discarded the bat. He'll come back with a 3-2 count.
You know, there were days when that may not have played well for your own pitchers. You don't like that one, and clearly it's off the plate, but it's close. But you might want to delay a bit on that bat toss.
Well, as the umpires say, it's nothing until I call it. That is ball 4. He did wait, and he's the first to draw a walk from Pfister tonight. Ketel Marte reached on an infield hit in the 3rd inning. Pfister is one guy who has not torpedoed himself with walks throughout his career, but that game in Seattle really went against the pattern. 7 walks in 6 innings. However, he just allowed 3 runs.
Quality start with 7 walks.
Yeah.
And pretty amazing that he could pull that off, but he's got himself on a pretty nice little run right now.
3 straight quality starts for Pfister. Leonis Martins on deck. Valbuena on the grass at 3rd. Off-speed pitch makes it a 2-0 count to Marte. Dodgers and Toronto are tied 2-2. They're in the bottom of the 7th in Toronto. Kenta Maeda started for LA. A looping foul ball makes it 2 balls and a strike. That ball reacted almost like it was hit with a ping pong paddle.
Like one of your little cut drop shots in tennis from some years ago.
Joey Bats went deep tonight for the Blue Jays. He hit his 6th home run in support of Marcus Stroman. Good young pitcher. 3 balls and a strike now for Pfister. Now a full count.
Maybe outside edge. Continues to paint out there. A little bit of baseball on that strike zone. You got it.
Yep. And the throw goes over to first on Iannetta. Cleveland is waxing Kansas City 7-0. And they are now in the bottom of the 7th inning. Danny Salazar is authoring the shutout, so the Astros will be facing him here his next time around. Fouled away.
It's a good starting staff for Cleveland.
Yeah. It is something that is the basis of their team, and a lot of people think that if they just provide a medium amount of offense, they are in the race in the AL Central with that staff. And we'll see him starting Monday night. The game Wednesday with Cleveland here is a 1:10 start, by the way. That's the finale of the homestand. Correa steps on second, throws to a stretching Marwin Gonzalez for a double play. And that was a good one on the ground for Pfister, getting him 2 outs, 3-0 Astros.
The fifth, it'll be Castro, Altuve, and Springer up for the Stros. Speaking of Altuve, it's time for our Geico quote of the day. And this is Jose on his approach at the plate this season. He said, quote, "I'm trying to be consistent, not lose my plan. I try to go to home plate with a purpose, with a plan, and not get out of it." That was a response to a question I asked him about his first inning success this year. And he said he's trying to be a little bit more selective, guys. He's known for going up there and swinging, being sort of a free swinger, but this year he's trying to be more selective and work into hitters' counts, and I think so far that's paying off for him.
He's made dynamic improvement to an already great start to his career. There's strike one to Castro. Castro grounding out in the second inning. It has been just something to behold watching Altuve play every day this season. Hit hard, and that is to the left of Cano, and on through for a single for Jason Castro, hitting it right through the shift. And he starts a brand new hitting streak.
Yeah, time now for the forward spray chart. As we look at Jose Altuve, and why not? He's been so good. Extra base hits this year, 12 to left center, 7 to center, and 4 to right field. Keep in mind that a good number of those are home run balls. Jose Altuve is one of the very best right now in slugging percentage. I believe second in all of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, he leads the American League. 0 for 2 tonight with 2 groundouts. Leads the majors in extra base hits. Fly ball to center field. Martin with the catch. 1 out. And it's just been such a dynamic start. People are leafing back through the baseball encyclopedia. Can we find a guy like him who was 5'6" and did this? Well, they've come up with Hack Wilson, who was 5'6". He was the last 5'6" player to hit as many as 20 homers in a season. That was 1932. Altuve has 9, and it's not even close to June yet.
You know, I couldn't have told you Hack Wilson was that smallish of a player, and I'd like to get the tape measure out on Altuve on that one.
I think he's really 5'5". George Springer's 0 for 2. And there's a hit to the right side for Springer. Sharp ground ball gets him aboard, gets Castro to second base for Correa.
That was rather crafty right there.
Yes, it was.
Had that open right side. Looked like he was shooting that way.
He did.
Big smile toward the dugout. I wonder if he had a little pact with the hitting coach Dave Hudgens that said, look, if they're going to give it to you, take a shot. And remember last year when you started doing that, it really kind of bumped everything for you.
It really did. Well, the Astros put some things together, leading 3-0. And now Correa, who has a homer to right field and a walk, will get this RBI opportunity.
Sometimes it's such a fun game.
And ball one.
Oppo job for Carlos Correa. I think he had a couple of strikes on him, and he was just trying to stay in there and see the ball as long as possible. But he's just unique, and I mean, you could use a lot of descriptive words on him.
Bat got away from him as he fouled it.
Slippery handed.
But the way we've seen him hit, Ash, he is a very punishing 2-strike hitter. He'll hit the ball hard to the opposite field.
He's just big and strong and talented, and it's a lethal combination. I don't think, honestly, that we've seen yet what he can do. Obviously, we've never seen him for an entire season. But I think when it's all played out this year, we're going to have a good peek at what he's really capable of doing, and I think he'll do it for a long, long time.
He did not think too much of his April performance with the bat.
And I think he's correct with that assessment. I felt like he really pulled back, became passive at the plate. And I think we're going to see a more aggressive guy now for the remaining 5 months of the season.
Colby Rasmus is on deck. Castro at second, Springer at first. In for a strike. 1-2 to Correa. Texas Rangers are getting a shutout tonight. Let's look at that play first.
Side edge.
Cole Hamels in 7 innings gave up 1 hit, no runs against Detroit. Still going. Liner into right center. Castro heads for third. He's being sent home. Here's a long looping throw to the plate, and he is safe. 4-0 lead. Correa eases into second. And that throw from Smith just took off up in the air. Didn't have a lot on it. It gave Castro a chance to come home.
I'll tell you what it also did. It gave one other runner, Correa, the chance, the freebie to move into second base. And it's such an easy read. You're supposed to watch the ball come out of the outfielder's hand. Do you think that ball's going to be cut? That lead foot of Castro kind of got caught as it hit the dirt. Watch as it hits the dirt. It got caught and bounced up over the plate. So maybe fortunate for Castro not to hurt himself and to score on the play.
And he barely did score. The Mariners were holding things up for a moment while they decided whether to challenge or not, and they are not. RBI single for Correa. He goes to second on the throw. Infield in for Rasmus with 1 out, men on second and third. High drive way back into center. Martin on the run. Tremendous catch. Here's the tag at third. And Springer will waltz home on a deep sacrifice fly. 5-0. 23rd run batted in for Rasmus, and he ripped it.
Good at bat. And Martin is getting challenged in center field. But maybe that helps Colby Rasmus come back with the bat a bit. No problem there, obviously tagging from third. The challenge was for Correa, who went beyond halfway.
That ball was really smacked. Rasmus getting an RBI, and Gaddis has a chance for one. Taking strike one. Gaddis 0 for 2, but he scored a run after reaching on an error. That's really a showcase for Martin in this series so far. We've seen a lot of his back. Mike Montgomery, a lefty, warming up for Seattle as that one's foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Lefty Montgomery, and there's Mike Hampton, the bullpen coach. Former Astro pitcher who won 22 games here in his best season. Hampy started his career with Seattle, and then he was traded to Houston, where he really flourished. Gaddis strikes out, and Iannetta completes the strikeout from 2 to 3. The Astros get 2, and they're up 5-0. Inside the box score. It's brought to you by Jack in the Box, showing you at age 26 now, Jose Altuve.
Oh, please. You're going to start talking Pete Rose?
Yep.
My gosh, he's got more hits than Pete Rose, who wound up with, what, 4,200 and
56.
Just a
like that.
ridiculous figure. And then you look at the years of consecutive years of over 200 hits. If Altuve starts to approach those numbers, you've got yourself some kind of story.
Leonis Martin turns away from ball one. 5-0 Astros. Martin popped to second in the third inning. Yeah, Altuve was quite something before the game today. That's a bunt, and it hugs the line for a while, but then turns foul. 1-1, and there was, of course, a big media contingent awaiting Jose Altuve, and they talked to him. That one didn't start out on the grass, did it? Never caught any grass, so it on the dirt went foul.
Smart play by Castro.
Yeah. So Altuve did this group interview with a lot of media folks, and then I congratulated him on his 26th birthday, and we walked into the clubhouse. He said, yeah, you know, things are really different now. I can remember when I was 23 and how things were then when I came out. I ball to right field.
I used to feel so good in the morning.
That's out number one. Man, 26 years old.
Now, you did say Doug Fister is a guy who has survived on the fly ball throughout his career, right?
No. What's going on with that?
It's a different look, Doug Fister, but bring the W's.
That's 8 fly ball outs for Doug out of the 16 he has. Aoki has grounded to short and struck out looking. That's ball one. He almost looked like he was about to cry after he took that third strike back in the third inning. Just had a pained expression on his face.
Don't you know I'm a guy with a reputation of taking balls just out of the zone?
But there's no crying in baseball.
Not a bit. Yeah.
2-0.
Takes me to the scene in the restroom with Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah. Now 3-0 to Aoki. Texas has been pouring it on now with 2 more runs in the top of the ninth and leads Detroit 5-0 in the bottom of the ninth. Hamels, Diekman, and Dyson have pitched for the Rangers. And for a strike, it's 3-1. And the Rangers coming into play tonight were a game above 500 at 15-14. Foul ball. The Astros are 10-19. So people have been searching back to the 1914 Miracle Boston Braves. They were 7-19 and came back to win. I believe they won the World Series that year. The 0-1 Oakland A's were 8-18 and they won 102 games.
Wow.
Correa charging. Art Howe could tell us about that. 2 outs. But let's go to Bart.
Thank you, Bill. Well, are you new to Houston and looking to get to know the city a little better? Well, with our Welcome to Houston package, we invite you to tour Minute Maid Park and enjoy an Astros game tomorrow. For tickets, go to astros.com/welcome. Welcome to Houston, that is, or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. 2 outs now, and Fister has thrown first pitch strikes to 11 of 19 batters. As they first pitch balls to 11 of 19 rather. And here's Smith. He's 0 for 2. Slow curveball will change that trend a bit as he throws strike one. So he's been able to come back though after throwing those first pitch balls to get a lot of outs. And he's only needed 81 pitches. 4 5 2/3. That's a high strike call. 0-2.
A lot of movement on that comeback fastball right there. That's just movement as it darts back toward the plate.
You know, Doug said in spring training, though, that he wanted to try Brent Strom's idea of using the top part of the strike zone, and that seems to be exactly what he's doing tonight. One and two, and a guy who's been around for a while and is 32 years old has to get some credit for being willing to pitch a little bit differently than he has when he's been successful in his career.
It was an up and down spring, I would say, for Doug Fister, and maybe he's finding it. I'm not sure a sinker baller that has gotten ground balls through his career can immediately be comfortable going up.
Gonzalez, 3 unassisted. It's a 1-2-3 6th inning. It's 5-0 Houston.
on top 5-0 now. Hey, make memories at an Astros ball game with our family-friendly activities at every Sunday home game presented by Kroger. The next Sunday home game of the season is coming up day after tomorrow when the Astros and the Mariners wrap up this series. For more information, go to astros.com/Sundays or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Guys, back to you.
Mother's Day, don't miss it. Thank you, Bart. Good family time there as Mike Montgomery comes in 9 games. He's 1-0 with a 2.63.
Got some nice numbers going there. Great whip under the 1 mark. Good ERA. Right-hand hitters against this lefty having a really tough time. Likely splitter, change, something off speed to take the advantage away from the right-hand hitters.
Carlos Gomez on the curveball, committed, and there's strike 1. He lined to first in the 4th inning after putting down a sac bunt in the 2nd. Over the last 6 games, Montgomery has not given up a run in 8 2/3 innings. Bounces that breaker. He pitched twice in the series against the Astros in Seattle, and each time he worked 1 hitless, scoreless inning. 1-1 for the 26-year-old lefty Mike Montgomery from Mission Hills, California. 2 balls and a strike. He was drafted by Kansas City, then he was traded to Tampa Bay after 2012. Last year he pitched 16 times as a starter for Seattle. They're in good shape in the rotation right now, so he's working in relief. Their lefty last night, Wade Miley, pitched well. Miley, even though he pitched a shutout in a previous start and a quality ball last night, has a 4.74 ERA. That's the highest in the rotation for Seattle. Foul ball. They have King Felix at 2.21. Hisashi Iwakuma 4.03. Nate Carnes, who goes tomorrow night, 3.81. Very solid starting rotation here through the first 28 games for Scott Service. And Tim Bogar, the bench coach, is on the other side of Scott there. Gomez is down on strikes. Michael Guaipe in 3 innings allowed 3 hits and 2 runs.
Slider down and in. It's a nice assortment of pitches from Montgomery. And again, a heck of a changeup that he'll spot in there.
Well, Tim Bogar managed the Texas Rangers at the end of the season a few years ago. And he'd been a coach at Tampa Bay, has a lot of experience. Valbuena looks at ball 1. Valbuena's 0 for 1 with a walk. This is the anniversary of that Kerry Wood 20 strikeout game against the Astros in Chicago.
Never seen anything more dominant than that game.
Wow.
Obviously have seen a number of no-hitters, but never anything like that one.
You know, they have this game score that they assign to the great pitch games.
Yep.
And that game, I think, has about the highest game score of any game. And there was 1 infield hit, Ricky Gutierrez. It was off the glove of the 3rd baseman. Could have been ruled an error.
I thought it should have been an error. It was early in the ball game and a hit was awarded, and they just chose not to take it away.
Marte is right there for Valbuena's grounder, 2 outs. Just a dominant game against the 98 Astros, who won 102 games.
Hockey playoffs going on these days. That's a goal.
Well, we're hoping not to have a triple overtime game the way there was last night.
Did they match 3.5 hours of?
I'm sure they did, Ash. Just don't pull the goalie, because that throws the statistics out of whack.
That'll mess everything up.
Yeah. Marwin Gonzalez has a homer in 2 trips. Now batting right-handed, taking ball 1.
Let's check and see if that was actually low.
There's a pretty good chance that was low, although on the bounce it might not have been too low.
Vladimir Guerrero would have thought that was right in the heart of the plate.
Yeah, he might have hit it out of the park too. Guaipe threw 44 pitches, 29 were strikes. This one to left field, and a chant at the 2nd home run of the night, and it's off the wall. And Marwin is going to get into second. Looked like he might have switch hit home runs in the same game, but it's going to be a double. Number 5 of the year after the homer earlier for Marlins, so he's doing damage and extra bases, both right and left-handed.
Yeah, I said earlier in the ballgame, this right side of the plate is the more classic power type stroke. All the way down on the knob, leg kick, and good full swing. It's not that short little version you see from the left side. And he'll produce some big home run balls from this side of the plate. But I think he might have gotten just enough there and possibly had a shot at a 3-bagger.
Well, he checks into second for Castro now. Jason's 1 for 2, a single to right field in the 5th inning. That's hit number 6 for the Astros. 2 homers and a double, accounting for half of those 6. He takes off for third. Here's the throw to Seager, and he is out. For out number 3 at third base. So that ends it here in the Astros 6th inning. No runs a hit, nobody left, and the Astros lead at 5-0.
Astros on top 5-0, and we have a winner in our Chevy Stroh poll. You remember the question, how many home runs will Altuve finish with this season? And the winner was B, 20-25. Personally, I'm more in the C, 26-30, but hey, 40% of you said 20-25. And the great thing about Altuve this year, as we mentioned, the pitch selection is so much better. But when the situation calls for it, he's also letting the ball travel a little bit, and he'll slap one to the opposite field as well. In fact, in that Minnesota series, he came very close to having a 2-homer game. One he pulled to left, and the other one he bounced off the fence out in the bullpen area. So he's spraying the ball all over the place, guys, and doing it with authority.
Robinson Cano leads it off and takes ball 1 from Doug Fister. 5-0 Astros. Cano is 1 for 3. That's the 85th pitch of the night for Fister. He had a 1-2-3 6th inning. He's given up 2 hits. Singles by Cano and Marte. Marte's hit an infield hit. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. Steve Johnson's warming up, a right-hander for Seattle. Tony Sipp is away from the Astros on paternity leave. 2 balls and a strike, and the Astros have recalled right-hander Michael Phillies, who had just been optioned down the night before when Jake Marisnick came up from AAA. So Phillies is right back in the bullpen tonight, but Fister has kept everything quiet out there tonight. 3 balls, 1 strike for Doug. Signed a 1-year deal as a free agent to join the Astros rotation. A rotation that hopes to be rejoined by Lance McCullers in a few days. He's due to pitch this weekend. Backhanded Correa. 1-0. And if things go well, the Astros will reevaluate him Hopefully he will recover from that start this weekend and everything will be good. Nelson Cruz has struck out and fly to right. Twins are in Chicago where the White Sox lead them 5-4 in the bottom of the 5th. Matt Latos starting for the Sox against Ricky Nolasco. They're both still in there. Arcia hit his 4th for the Twins. That's line foul, and Jose Abreu hit number 5 for the White Sox. White Sox quite a ball club in the early going.
Great record, primarily based on the pitching. Their hitting numbers are not as spectacular as I might have guessed going into looking at them.
Well, of course, Abreu is capable of a powerful season. We've seen that from him. We talked about that Kerry Wood game, Ash. There's a strike ruled by Ben May on the swing by Cruz, 1 and 2. Kerry Wood was assigned a game score of 105. Now here's some carping at the home plate umpire from the Seattle bench. Manny Gonzalez is trying to put that to rest.
I'm not sure why there would be hollering going out to the home plate umpire. He appealed down to first base, properly so, and the fist went up down at first base. So
yeah,
that wouldn't make sense.
It's interesting. That one hit him, and Cruz will take his base, hit by the pitch. Kyle Seager will follow.
There's no reason right here to think there was intent with this fastball, and so I'm a little surprised at home plate umpire coming out and walking in between hitter and pitcher. And that, to me, that's just a pitch that gets away.
Well, Cruz hit by the pitch, first hit batter for Pfister this season, and for Cruz, that is the 5th time he's been drilled already. Seager the batter, and the shift is on for Seager. He's 0 for 2. Hit the ball deep to right field last time up. This one goes out to Springer's right and right center. A long run for George, way back. Gomez is there. Gomez came up a little short. Now Springer picks up the ball. Here's Cruz into third base on a double by Seager. It looked as if Springer thought Gomez was going to catch it, and then Gomez may have slowed down there at the end, but it's a double.
Yeah, that's a communication miscue right there. Now, look, if Carlos Gomez, the center fielder, wants to take this, you're just hollering and going, and you could see there was a little pullback. Springer clearly was clearing out.
And maybe the wind knocked it down. Brent Strom has come out to the mound. Runners at second and third, 1 out. Only the second Mariner to reach scoring position. Marte stole second base in the 3rd inning. Now 2 men in scoring position. And Strom and Pfister talk it over.
That play, by the way, is one where I think it's full commitment from center fielder. People always talk about, well, the center fielder's the quarterback. And I think center fielders have to lay off on routine fly balls to corner outfielders. This is anything but that. This is where you do quarterback the play.
Adam Lind has hit a fly ball to right and struck out. And he takes, there's ball 1 to Lind. Yeah, that Kerry Wood game score was 105. One of 13 games in history with a game score of 100 or more.
What was that, 19 strikeouts, 18?
It was 20.
20.
Tie the record. So the game score comes from how many hits were allowed, how many walks, other base runners, strikeouts. It's all compiled into that game score.
You know, I don't want to give any impression that guys were not given their best. They were, and they got embarrassed in that game by the stuff of Kerry Wood, to the extent that when the game was over, guys were looking at each other like, what about that at bat of yours in the 3rd inning? Well, how about yours in the 6th? And it was just it was really amazing to watch.
Now the bases are loaded after the walk to Adam Lind, bringing up Iannetta. And it appeared that Pfister wanted no part of pitching to Lind. There's Neshek warming up. So now there's a force at any base. He has a chance to get a double play and end the inning here. It's not an intentional walk, but it just didn't appear that he had the intent to go after it. However, 5-run lead makes you wonder about that too, Ash.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're starting to become fatigued a little bit, it can look like you didn't go after anybody because you just simply lost command.
Yeah.
That could have been the stall tactic on the hill, providing A.J. Hinch and Neshek a little bit of extra time.
So this will be the move with Neshek coming in and Iannetta coming up with the bases loaded and 1 out. After 98 pitches here for Pfister, he leaves up 5-0. Back in a moment.
No time to let. With a shutout effort to this point, obviously hoping that the bullpen can come in and get the job done right now. The Astros need these big starts, and Doug Pfister has thrown together potentially 4 consecutive quality starts. Our delivery of the game is brought to you by Jimmy John's. As we look at what Doug Pfister has done throughout the night, up in the zone quite a bit and successfully so throughout the evening. A lot of fly ball outs as now Pat Neshek comes in and picks it up with the bases loaded.
And delivers ball 1 to Chris Iannetta. Iannetta with a fly ball and a walk so far. And Neshek has retired 9 of 11 first batters. He's inherited 6 runners. 1 has scored. Line. What a play. Correa diving. Tremendous diving play by Carlos Correa.
What do you say but wow. Great reaction play. Somehow the runners freeze on this hung out rope. Everybody without movement except for Carlos Correa. And that is some kind of gem.
Oh, Pat Neshek enjoyed the air show.
Yes, sir.
He had to get horizontal very quickly. And robbed Iannetta. That's Marte. Scott Feldman warming up for Houston. Neshek has a 4.5 ERA, 57 holds since 2014. And 8 appearances against Seattle last year. Marte reached on the infield, hit the shortstop, and bounced into a double play. That is just such a spectacular play by Correa, given the situation. Strike 1 to Marte.
Game-changing effort.
Really was.
All of a sudden, you got Seattle potentially getting back in the game without that play, and not many can make that one.
In the dirt for a ball, 1-1. Neshek came in the 6-4 win over the Minnesota Twins day before yesterday in the 7th inning and worked a hitless frame. That was Tuesday night. 25,413 the paid attendance. Line drive right field corner. That'll score at least a couple. Cruz scoring. Seager coming home, and here's the go-ahead now for Lynn, and the throw to the plate, not in time, and now it's 5-3. Marte winds up at third base after driving in 3.
A couple of line drives immediately off of Neshek. This young shortstop for Seattle, Ketel Marte, continues to be a rather nasty sword. He's quick in too. That magnifies the play now by Correa.
The Mariners poured it on last night in the late innings. They got 2 in the 7th and 3 in the 9th. 5 of their 6 runs coming late. Popped up. 3 players coming for it. Marwin Gonzalez with the catch to end it. And it's a much tighter game now after 3-run score on 2 hits with a runner left. 5-3 Houston.
Have tightened things up significantly now. 5-3 Astros as we move to the bottom of the 7th. Time now to take a look at the Houston Methodist League leaders, and we are talking most 4-hit games in Astros history. Look at the names. They won't surprise you. Craig Biggio right there at the top with 34. Bagwell with 26. Cesar Cedeno, 1 behind him. Derek Bell and Lance Berkman with 17 each. Jose Cruz with 16. And Jose Altuve climbing that ladder. He was 4 for 4 with a home run last night. And I'm sure he's got plenty more of those left in him in his young career, guys.
Well, the Astros might need another big knock from Altuve. Their lead now down to 2. It's 5-3 Houston. Doug Fister in 6 1/3 innings allowed 3 hits, 3 runs. Another quality start. Walking 2, hitting a batter, fanning 3. That's 4 straight quality starts for Fister. Mike Montgomery out to face Jason Castro in the home 7th inning. He has a single and 2 trips. Castro looks at ball 1.
I was not here, but didn't Craig Biggio get 4 hits in his night where he got his 3,000?
He got 5.
5, okay.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
It's okay. You weren't here.
Wow.
1 ball, 1 strike. That was quite a night. Altuve on deck. There's 2 balls and a strike.
That big sweeping breaking ball always looks to me like it has to find a piece of the plate up at the front.
Yeah. Pfister threw 98 pitches, 57 for strikes tonight. Line to left field and caught by Aoki. But nonetheless, Castro stung it.
Yes, sir. That is an at bat that he can take back and kind of build on. Very well done.
Well, he's hit the ball sharply 2 times out of 3 tonight. Altuve is 0 for 3. Last player to hit as many as 7 leadoff homers by June 1st was Brady Anderson, 1996 with Baltimore. Altuve's hit 6.
Was that in a year where he hit 12 or 50?
I think he might have hit. He hit 51 one year, right?
Yeah, that's right. Good changeup.
Yeah.
That's the pitch we talked about for Montgomery.
In for a strike, and it's 0-2.
A few times tonight, Altuve's had a little bit of a glitch trying to pull the trigger. Tough pitch.
Well, the Astros would love to play some add-on here. They got 1 run in the first on a 2-out homer by Correa. 2-run homer by Marwin Gonzalez. His first career homer with a man on base, followed in the second inning to make it 3-0. Then they made it 5-0 in the 5th inning. Correa drove in a run with a single, and Rasmus another with a sac fly. 1-2.
I don't care if you're up 5-0. You're always trying to add on, as you talk about, and that final out of the 6th inning for the Astros, a tough one to stomach.
An attempted steal of third by Marwin Gonzalez. It's 2-2. Red Sox are batting in the top of the 9th at Yankee Stadium, trailing the Pinstripers 3-2. Andrew Miller's in the game, trying to nail it down. George Springer on deck. Altuve has worked a walk. Boy, he was 0-2 in the count. Came back to walk for the 15th time.
Now that running game can be employed to try to get into scoring position.
He leads the league with 10 steals and 11 tries. He's the major league leader as well. Springer ripped a single to right field in the 5th inning and came around to score. George is 1 for 3. Strike for Montgomery.
And following that hit by Springer, they now have Robinson Cano playing more straight up, maybe trying to take that notion away to the right side.
Montgomery is from quite an athletic family. His mother played some softball and basketball in college. She can play catch with him and even warm him up. One and one.
I remember seeing Ruth Ryan do that for Nolan.
Oh yeah, she'd put on the gear. But who wouldn't? With Nolan's
That just shows intelligence. That's all.
It does. 2 balls and a strike. It's Arizona 4, Atlanta 2. They're in the top of the 8th in Atlanta. Arizona club is 12-18 after spending all that money over the winter. 3 balls and a strike. Zach Greinke started tonight and pitched well, 6 innings, 2 runs. His ERA is 5.15 now. Bouncer on through into left field. Springer's 2 for 4. Altuve into second base for Carlos Correa now.
And just a couple of ground balls for George, but finding holes tonight. I wouldn't say that George is a red-hot hitter, but he's kept himself in a really nice position that if he does get red-hot, boy, numbers would look really good.
Correa has accounted for 2 of the Astros' 5 runs with a homer and a single. He also has walked in a perfect night so far for Carlos. Really bunching some hits on this homestand. He had 3 hits, including a homer and a double Wednesday night in that big 16-4 blowout of Minnesota. Turn back towards second. Altuve is being watched. And if he could steal third with 1 out, that would give Correa a better chance to get this run home. The Astros now have 20 stolen bases, and 11 times they've been caught stealing. Not the kind of percentage they're looking for. Ripped into left. Altuve will be stopped at third base. Aoki comes up with it cleanly, and the bases are loaded. A 3rd hit of the night for Correa, who's on for the 4th straight time, and he's also made a spectacular defensive play.
This guy is starting to look like the player that I think so many of us believe he's going to be. Just much more aggressive with the bat, and in doing so, he will be very productive.
Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the pitching coach, is on his way. Colby Rasmus is the batter. He's 0 for 2 with a sac and the sac fly. The bullpen is busy with the right-hander for the Mariners.
It's a great time for a response that inning later when Seattle put up the big 3-run swing. And now see if the Astros can respond in kind.
Johnson warming up for Seattle. You know, we talk about all these connections between the Seattle coaching staff and Houston. Stottlemyre is another. He was in the Astros farm system. And his father, of course, a longtime pitcher with the Yankees, was the Astros pitching coach at one point. Bases loaded for Rasmus. 0 for 2 with that sac fly. And there's strike 1, lefty on lefty. Astros would love to answer the Seattle 3 runs in the top of the inning. As a team, they are 6 for 16 with the bases loaded. Colby has 5 grand slams and has a .300 career average with 3 men on. Started and on appeal, he checked his swing. That could be a big call. Takes the count to 1-1 instead of 0-2.
Bat starts. It's very close and certainly callable on the swing.
Crowd's getting into it. 25,713 paid attendance. 1-2 for Montgomery. Montgomery got his first major league win against the Astros last year. And it stays at 1-2. Francisco Liriano and Pittsburgh are shutting out St. Louis. Carlos Martinez was the Cardinals starter. It's 3-0 in the bottom of the 7th at St. Louis. Rasmus looks at it. It's a ball to take the count to 2-2.
Curveball starts way in, tries to work its way back. Colby backs away, and you just hold your breath for a moment.
Canoto is left. Long throw back to second. Marte to first. Safe at first. Altuve scores. 6-3 Houston.
Every run means something right now. There are not, I don't know if there's another second baseman in the game that as easily goes back to second base on this play. Robinson Cano possesses some unique talents. His throwing style, maybe as much as anything, and a good strong arm. Good hustle by Colby to beat it out.
And he definitely did. Just watching the footwork there at second, it was a brief question about whether Marte had his foot on the bag when he took that throw, but it's 6-3 now with a pitching change. We'll be right back.
The pitching change. Astros on top 6-3 here in the bottom of the 7th. And you can join us in Keuchel's Corner, presented by Houston Methodist, tomorrow to show your support for our Cy Young Award-winning pitcher, Dallas Keuchel. With this package, you get a ticket, a beard, and a Keuchel's Corner t-shirt. For more information, go to astros.com/Keuchel's Corner or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. And don't forget, if you get here early enough, you might also get the Keuchel bobblehead. It's a big Dallas Keuchel day.
Look forward to it, Bart. Thank you. Pitching change brings in hurler number 4 for Scott Service tonight. He is right-hander Steve Johnson, 28 years old, recalled from AAA Tacoma Tuesday. 1 appearance, 1 run allowed. He will face a pinch hitter, Preston Tucker. He'll be pinch hitting for Evan Gattis. Johnson played with the Orioles for parts of 3 seasons. And his father, Dave Johnson, also pitched for the Orioles. Tucker 4 for 21 with 2 pinch hit homers in his career. Runners at first and third, 2 outs. Evan Gattis was 0 for 3 tonight. And the throw goes to first. Rasmus back in. Steve Johnson made his Mariners debut at Oakland 3 days ago, giving up a solo homer in that 1 inning. Tony Zick was placed on the disabled list, and he got a chance to join this team. Upstairs, ball 1.
See that first fastball at 87. He averages about 89 on the Heat.
Mariners also have Joaquin Benoit on the disabled list right now. Foul back. 1-1. Tucker and Gattis have been sharing this DH spot for a while now, and there's a strict platoon decision here to go with the left-handed hitter against Johnson. Throw goes to first. A.J. Hinch announced before the game tonight that Mike Fiers will start Monday against Cleveland. Chris Davinsky gets the Tuesday night start. He has not yet named his Wednesday afternoon starter. Off-speed pitch popped up. Cano with the catch. And the Astros settle for 1 run on 2 hits. They leave a couple. They lead at 6-3 after 7.
Astros have stretched that lead out to 6-3 now. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. This includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.TV for details. Will Harris on the mound now for the Astros. Let's go up to Bill Brown for more.
Thank you, Bart. Well, he's the most important man in the scheme of things here. The Astros lead at 6-3. They call on Harris, who's been on a roll lately, Ash.
Pitching great baseball. 91, almost 92 miles an hour, the average on the heater. He can run it up considerably higher than that, but just effective time in, time out with the Astros.
Facing Aoki, who's 0 for 3. And moves him out of there with the inside heater, ball 1. Pat Neshek at 2/3 of an inning, allowed 1 hit, no runs, had no walks, no strikeouts. Doug Fister is in line for win number 3 of the season. Punch to left field, Rasmus. 1 out. Harris allowed 1 hit in his scoreless 8th last night. And at the time, it was a 3-3 game. Seth Smith is 0 for 3. The Astros pitching staff has done a perfect job tonight of keeping Aoki and Smith off base for Cano, Cruz, and Seager. The top 2 hitters a combined 0 for 7 without reaching base. That's strike 1. Quite often when people who know a lot about baseball break down how would you beat this team, and they look at Cano, Cruz, and Seager, that would be the start of that formula. Keep the guys in front of them off base.
Yeah, they're kind of classic in that sense. You take that 3-4-5 area. A lot of teams have been very successful with that formula.
Smith has an 0-2 count.
And they can take it beyond that. You take Adam Lind, the first baseman, and he's not locked into playing every day right now, but they've got some thump on this Mariners club.
They do. They led the league in homers when this game began, but the Astros have hit 2 and the Mariners none. So Houston now is the league leader with 40. In tight from Harris. 1-2. You may be just joining us. You may be unaware that Tony Sipp has left the club on paternity leave. So the Astros are without a lefty reliever while he's gone. Michael Feliz was recalled from AAA. There's a strikeout, but Harris has been very effective against lefty hitters.
Yeah, he has been that. And then you look at what he's done to right-hand hitters. They've hit 120 against him. So it's just, it's remarkable stuff that Will Harris is putting up for the Astros.
He's a great default choice for A.J. Hinch in any situation.
It's an easy default, isn't it?
Hit the default button, get outs. Robinson Cano is 1 for 3. After the damage he did last night, facing him with nobody on is something every pitcher wants. There's strike one. Cano took his medicine, so to speak, silently last year, but he was going through a number of problems physically during the season. And he was being criticized for his lack of production. Big cut there on 2. He had a problem with acid reflux. He had a double sports hernia. His right leg was weaker than his left leg. So he got everything squared away. He did some balancing work on one leg, on the right leg, to make it stronger over the winter. And he came back revitalized. But his second half last year was very good. He hit above 300. He hit homers. He wound up at 21. He wound up at 79 runs batted in. That one got in on him. Still 0-2.
A lot of people think that Safeco can be the issue, but he hit 299 in Safeco last year. So when it was all said and done, it was a pretty solid year.
Through June 30th last year, he was hitting 238, 4 homers, 24 runs batted in.
351 in August, 305 in September.
Last year, his batting average on balls in play was just 228. Career, he's 322. So it figured he would revert to the norm if healthy. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and he has done better than that.
I mentioned August and September. Let's throw in July at 337. So once he came out of that or into that All-Star break, he was smoking.
And now one of the most feared hitters in baseball this year. When this game started, he had an OPS above 900. Still 1-2. Well, of course, the guy who signs the 10-year deal for $240 million is always going to be the focus of attention. He's driven in at least 1 run in all 4 games against the Astros this season for a total of 14. Had a 6 RBI game, including a grand slam at Seattle April 26th. And he had a 4 RBI game last night. Gomez in the left center field, digging hard on the run for a 1-2-3-8 for Will Harris. 6-3 Astros. is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Toyota. Let's go places. A gorgeous night. Let's go right there. The youth movement is well underway.
Got to have a youth movement. Bring them.
Good night for families. Carlos Gomez is in the box. The home 8th inning starts. 6-3 Houston. Pitch upstairs from Johnson. Ball 1. We're talking about Steve Johnson's father, Dave, having pitched for the Orioles. We understand Dave is now the analyst on the pre and post game telecast for the Orioles. So when Steve goes to Baltimore, they'll have a chance to get together. 2 balls, 1 strike. Yankees beat the Red Sox 3-2. Kirby Yates won that one over Rick Porcello. Curveball bouncing, takes it to 3-1, and Andrew Miller got his 6th save, so the Yankees are now 10-17. Aaron Hicks homered for them, his first of the year. Gomez draws a leadoff walk. 4th walk for Mariner pitching tonight. Altuve walked in the 7th inning. It came around to score. Valbuena is 0 for 2 with a base on ball. Marwin Gonzalez is on deck. He has 2 extra base hits in this game. Ball 1. Tampa Bay and the Angels are underway. They're in the top of the 1st with no score. The Angels now are losing the ace of their rotation. Garrett Richards.
Yeah, he's heading for surgery, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
That's gonna, it would seem anyway, dampen their optimism.
Tommy John surgery in the future for Garrett Richards. Now the Rays have just gotten 4 runs. They got a 3-run homer from Chris Dickerson. Hard throw to first base. Gomez is 2 for 4 in stolen bases. Astros have Alex Bregman back at AA Corpus Christi. He's hit very well this season in 14 games. Just came back from a hamstring problem. Bregman in 14 games has hit .333 with 5 homers, 14 runs batted in. An on base average of .419, slugging percentage of .648 for the Hooks.
Yeah, you wonder if he can maintain those numbers, where he becomes valuable for the Astros. Because the Astros have a pretty good young shortstop.
Runner going. It's hit foul. Gomez jammed on the brakes, put down his left arm. 1-2. Cano's laughing at him.
Yeah, I wonder if Cano said something. On a foul ball, and you want to make sure you know where the ball is. You don't want to hurt yourself in that endeavor to suddenly stop.
Right. Infield shifts around further now with 2 strikes in the count. Strike 3. 1 out.
Valbuena didn't look like he enjoyed that call, but pretty good pitch. Loosen it up with a couple of strikes.
Marwin Gonzalez had a home run with a man on base back in the 2nd inning. He had not done that in the major leagues. He ripped a 3-0 pitch from Taijuan Walker into the seats in right field. Then he doubled in the 6th inning to left field, batting right-handed. 2 for 3 tonight. Taijuan Walker left the game after 2 innings with neck spasms. He gave up 3 runs, 1 of them earned. 5 of his 16 career wins have come at the expense of Houston. He is on the hook for this one as of now. In for a strike. The Mariners will have Cruz, Seager, and Lynn due up in the 9th. Colby Rasmus's brother Corey is starting for the Angels tonight. He gave up that 4th spot in the 1st for Tampa Bay, facing Chris Archer. Andrew Heaney, the young left-hander, has been struggling to stay healthy also for the Angels. One ball, 1 strike. Angels are 13 and 15. If the Astros can really play well for the remainder of this homestand, try to work their way back up into the pack in the AL West, then they can go from there. But right now they're 9 games under. So their objective to work their way back up toward 500. And then they could maybe get some things together and put together a run. It's going to be based quite a bit on pitching, it would appear, at this point. Jason Castro's on deck. They got a good start last night from Chris Davinsky. Another good one tonight from Doug Fister. In the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. White Sox are battering the Twins now. It's 10-4 in the top of the 8th inning at U.S. Cellular. White Sox team seemed to be in disarray to many this spring with the episodes of Kenny Williams and that Adam LaRoche situation. 3 balls and a strike. And according to recent stories, Chris Sale, who was quite vocal and a clubhouse leader, had a one-on-one session with Kenny Williams. They saw things differently, but they agreed to move on, and White Sox players have gone to work.
Good is good, and especially when it is led by a pitching staff like they have right now.
Yeah. They released John Danks not too long ago. Off the plate, ball 4. 2 walks in the inning for Johnson. And Jason Castro will bat. Castro singled in the 5th inning. He lined hard to left in the 7th. 1 for 3. So that .212 batting average. Let's see where he was about 10 days ago. He was hitting .116 before the game in Seattle, April 26th.
Well, that swing has been completely revamped here in the past week.
Off-speed pitch, ball 1. Miami beat the Phillies 6-4 in Miami. The Philly club has been drawing a lot of attention with its unexpected performance. Phillies are now 16 and 14. Now 2 balls, no strikes. Christian Yelich hit his 4th home run. Giancarlo Stanton hit a tape measure shot. That was number 10 for him. Marlins are leading off with their catcher, JT Realmuto, because of D. Gordon being suspended. They don't really have a dyed-in-the-wool leadoff man on that club. Dallas Keuchel's up tomorrow night against Nate Carnes with a 6:10 start here. 3-0 to Castro, with Johnson really struggling to find the strike zone now. Nobody warming up in the Mariners bullpen. Altuve's on deck. 3-1 to Jason. Steve Johnson was drafted in 2005 by the Dodgers in the 13th round. Former Astro Pete Harnisch there, close to the camera. He's a special assistant. That's strike 2, and it's 3 balls, 2 strikes now. Pete Harnisch pitched that final game of the season in '92. Doug Harvey's final game as an umpire.
Good running fastball outside edge.
1 hour and 44 minutes of shutout baseball for Pete Harnisch on the final day of the '92 season, with Doug Harvey telling all the hitters, you better be swinging the bat.
144?
Yeah. So this is my last game. Guys, you better be swinging the bat today.
It can happen, huh?
Yeah. Gomez at second. Gonzalez at first. Kickoff at second is wide. The Mariners are really paying a lot of attention to Go-Go. With 1 out, the runners could be setting sail here. See how AJ plays it. They're not. It's strike 3. Castro looking back over his shoulder at Manny Gonzalez.
I don't know if Jason thought strike 2 was outside. It was a very good pitch. And that's a good pitch. Take a look at the 3 in the strike zone. And you know, that's an area that for Jason has had to loosen up for some time now.
2 walks, 2 strikeouts looking in this inning. A lot of taking. And now Jose Altuve will bat. He's 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. Jose has scored 28 runs now in the 30 games for the Astros. That's a fine pace for runs scored. He's a .330 career hitter against Mariner pitching. Ball 1 to Altuve. We were looking through some numbers of other small players who have played the game. Jimmy Rollins is listed at 5'7". Rollins has had 4 seasons of at least 20 homers and at least 30 steals. Wonder if Altuve could join that club. Snap throw to first. The runner diving back in. Marwin Gonzalez. 1-1 to count. Well, the steal should be pretty easy for Jose. He's done that. That's a rather elite club. 20 homers, 30 steals. Rollins in 07 had 30 homers and 41 steals. Altuve chops one foul off the plate. 1-2. Colorado 4, San Francisco nothing. Top of the second. Former Giant Tim Lincecum had a session for scouts, and now apparently after some 20 team representatives of 20 different major league clubs watched him throw. We'll see if he gets any offers.
As rotations thin, maybe he gets a shot.
Maybe. Altuve to right field. Smith backing. Right in front of the wall for out number 3. No runs, no hits, 2 left. We go to the 9th. 6-3 Astros. Tundra. Let's look at the night for Carlos Correa. Very active night on a 1-2 count with 2 outs, nobody on in the first inning. Opposite field home run, number 5 of the year. 1-0 Astros. Then a walk, then an RBI single in the 5th inning when the Astros made it a 4-0 lead, playing Jason Castro. And this diving play, a real gem tonight. Bases loaded, 1 out. That was the 2nd out in the 7th. And then a 3rd hit of the night after a walk. He's been on base all 4 times, and he has helped to shut down what could have been a big inning when Seattle got 3 in the 7th to pull it within 5-3. Now it's Luke Gregerson, Ash.
And Luke Gregerson got touched up his last time out, an inning allowing 3 runs, but other than that game, he has been outstanding. Time to turn it in the right direction. You see on the whip below 1, so he simply has kept guys off base.
Facing Nelson Cruz, who's 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch and scored a run. That's strike 1 to Gregerson, who last night came in the 9th inning with the game tied 3-3. And gave up 3 hits and 3 runs to absorb his first loss of the year. He gets a swing there. Last night he struck out Cruz, but Robinson Cano, prior to that, ripped a 3-run double. Nonetheless, he is perfect in saves this year. And he has a string of 15 straight saves converted going back to last year. Chopped slowly. Here's Correa out of the shift. Got a bit of a high hop, but he turned it into out number 1.
You could see him actually kind of pull his head out of the way as that one came up and over. And when it's all said and done, what you're looking for is outs. And he's starting to get much more consistent once again. And it's not a play on which he needed to really hurry up with.
No, but it threw his timing off a little bit.
Did.
1 down, and it's Kyle Seager. Seager doubled and scored in the 7th. He's 1 for 3. Gregerson, with this stretch of 15 straight converted saves, has put together the longest such stretch since Brandon Lyons saved 16 straight in 2010. Out to center field, and that is a looping single for Seager. He's 2 for 4. That puts him aboard for Adam Lind. It's hit number 5 for the Mariners. Lind is 0 for 2 with a walk. He scored a run. Since Gregerson became the Astros closer last year, he's converted 37 of 42 save opportunities. Strike 1 to Lind. Altuve charges. Flip to Correa. Gun to first. Double play to end it. And the Astros beat Seattle 6-3 with a big double play. That's their second of the night, and Correa had a strong arm to get Lind at first.
And it's close at first, but not close enough for Adam Lind. Good, strong arm from Carlos Correa.
The Astros snap Seattle's 4-game winning streak. They go to 11-19. They're 3-2 on this homestand, and this series is square at 1 game apiece. A little hop in their step as they leave the field after beating the Mariners tonight 6-3.